kind of figure out something to do. I like to go outside and enjoy nature, but today, we'll just take it inside and delve in, delve in the knowledge, the information, the understanding of self. So I thought I would talk about the metaphysics of being, or the metaphysics, the understanding of physics in a higher state involving consciousness, awareness, as well as philosophy. So basically, I'm going to start out by reading, a paragraph out of my one of my books that I wrote, Supreme Consciousness, the Metaphysics of Thoughts, Things, the Elements, Thoughts, and Things. So here we go. So life is, first of all, this paragraph is called infinite potential. So life is the infinite potential created out of the infinite divine mind of creation. Life is created out of the mind energies of the universal intelligence that exists within and outside of our range of perception. These divine ideas into manifestation are created as intelligence of light, sound, frequencies through the process of divine mind. The universe is mind, and everything in it is a product of the thoughts which manifested as an outcome of the universal mind power. Life in the material consciousness is a condensed crystalline form which is created out of the etherical structures of atomic origin, which comes into being through the awareness of sound, light, and geometric patterns, and the mathematics through which the pattern of life is created. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the manifestation of light, sound, geometry, and numbers. These numbers are the basic building blocks of the universe in material manifested form. The numbers 1 through 4 are light sound frequencies or stages of consciousness from thought and idea in the mind. The principles of thought range from numbers 1 to 9, and its essence resides within our very beings, also known as a divine spark. The physical elements are conscious or aware. They are conscious of themselves when they form existence in the material realm. When they come together to form the physical body, each element becomes aware of itself and the environment individually and as a whole. Consciousness or awareness, ideas, thoughts, in the mind, involves the senses, which correlate to the elements and the basic numbers which manifest life in the physical form. 1 is the emanation or fire and sight. 2 is the creation, the air or hearing. 3 is the formation, water or taste. And 4 is the action or earth and smell. The physical trees on earth represent the actions or the formation of mind into things in our 3D perception, our 3D awareness. When we are aware of ourselves as consciousness and make up the 10 rays of light which are in creation on the material realm. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. Basic mathematics. So next paragraph, body consciousness. The human body is made up of elements, which in turn makes up one big body of consciousness. The earth is made up of the same, if not more elements, making it conscious as well. The elements are consciousness of the earth's mind and the physical manifestation of the earth's thoughts through our senses. When we sense the world and our conscious when we sense the world and are conscious of ourselves on earth, we are aware of the light and the sound frequencies which we are. Where there is a rise in consciousness on and of the earth, there is a rise in sense or elevation in the physical and subtle sense to perceive patterns of light and sound frequencies as elements, and also language through the thought patterns that are elevated consciousness. Language in and of itself is based on light, which is one of the fire elements. So the four principles of consciousness into being. Creation on earth and in the universe is of four basic principles and four states of consciousness. There are four states of consciousness of the physical manifestation of everything we are able to perceive in the three-dimensional reality of creation. The first state is the archetypal world of ideas, and this is the world of divine ideas of the divine mind, the universal mind. This represents the Father and the element of fire. The second world is the formation of those divine thoughts into divine ideas and out of divine inspiration. This represents the mother in her womb and the element of water. The third world or realm or state is the formation of the divine ideas and a divine inspiration or spark. In this world, the combining of worlds 1 and 2 take place. It is the basic blueprint to all physical design. This world represents the son or the first child of the mother and father principle and the element of fire. The fourth world is the manifestation of all three worlds above. The universe in the five senses are manifested and represents all that is tangible in three-density consciousness. It is also called planetary consciousness and represents the daughter of the mother and the father principle, in balance with the sun principle, and represents the element of earth. Sound is transmitted vibrations of any frequency. In divine creation, sound is directly related to the agency by which the divine reveals itself to man or mind. Sound represents the divine thoughts of its divinity and power, and it is through the sum total of this divine's creative power in which is within us and how we are able to come to know ourselves. Sound gives divine order and regularity to movement of physical things from a subtle idea in the thought and mind. The divine vibrations is immanent in man and all the universe as one, and through language or the word as a vehicle of expression gives way through thoughts and ideas of creation to manifest. Sounds are the sensations stimulated in the organs of hearing by such vibrations in the air or through and from another medium. In linguistics, sounds are created through articulation and pronunciation. Also, to make or give forth a sound or to give an impression of being. So, Let's go into the metaphysics of being. We're going to start out by defining what spirit, soul, and body is. So the spirit, we hear this word spirit, um, is a name for the divine, or name for God, gods, goddesses, the divine. So spirit is the name for the divine. Spirit and the word mind are synonymous. So when we think of mind, we are saying spirit. So spirit represents mind. So therefore, when we know spirit, we are knowing the divine as mind, or the one mind within us, or the intelligence of the universe individualized within us. So the spirit is the divine god or goddess as the moving force in the universe, and it is the principle as the breath of life in all creation, or all animating things. The principle of life, or the creative intelligence and life force principle, is the spirit or the mind in man and woman. So the spirit is another way of saying the one mind of the universe individualized within man or woman or mind. So the metaphysics of being pertaining to spirit means mind. So the soul is man's awareness or consciousness. It is the underlying idea or thoughts behind any expression or any state of being. So the soul exists in man or woman, and the soul is the many accumulated ideas or thoughts in the back of one's present expression of their ideas. It is the true sense, or the soul of man is the expressed idea of man in the divine mind. Or, in other words, the soul is our consciousness, our states of consciousness. The soul exists within the spirit, and the spirit exists within the soul, because they are of the same essence, yet the spirit is the mind, and the soul is the mind's awareness. And the body is the material manifestation of the life force principle of the spirit or the soul, which contains ideas which come into being expressions. So man and woman are built up of spirit, soul, and body, or mind, consciousness, and the subconsciousness, or the subconscious and subconscious mind, as well as the body, or the physical expression of the ideas in mind, or the body awareness of the soul in spirit. The unification of all these properties is the objective of the temple of divine. The body is considered as the essence of being, or the product of being. So man and woman is typically threefold being: spirit, soul, and body, or mind awareness, mind consciousness, and physical projection of that consciousness and mind. The body is the projection of the soul on the material plane, and it expresses the ideas and the states of consciousness of the soul embodied into it. So the body is just as essential a part of man and woman as the soul and the spirit. So creation is not complete until it becomes manifested into the physical realm, or into the outer expression, and man and woman mind must have a body through which to express his or her ideas, or the individualized expression of the divine mind, or the divine god and goddess mind, to be able to express itself in the physical form through our bodies. Man is threefold: spirit, soul, and body. So the spirit is the I am expression, or the individuality, or that which gives rise to the self in the body, and the body is the soul expressing itself, and the soul includes the conscious and subconscious mind. So the soul makes the body, and the body is the outer expression of the soul. The bodily health is direct and exact correspondence of health of the soul. The soul is fed by thought, and the true soul food is the word of the divine, or the sound of the divine, and that is within all living essence of things. When properly eaten, when this soul food is properly eaten, or properly appropriated, it makes the soul immortal. So when we, for example, just a quick example, when we do meditations within the Temple of Divine, we are working with sound, light, frequencies, in which allows us to feed our soul, or feed our spiritual self. When we do these meditations, these are acts of eating in a spiritual manner. Even when we present this information, this is an act of eating. So the spirit, soul, and body. The spirit is the I am, or the individualized God, goddess within the universe, individualized and expressed with our physical bodies through the breath of life, which exists and produces mind. So the soul is the awareness of that mind in the conscious and subconscious minds. So, which expresses then the body, which is an expression of the conscious and subconscious mind, through which the breath of life expresses itself on the physical realm. The spirit, the soul, and the body, in terms of awareness, is just this. So the spirit is self-awareness, the awareness of self, or the awareness of mind and breath in the body. The soul is God awareness, or the divine God and goddess awareness of the, which is higher than the self, or higher than the self-awareness, higher than the spirit awareness, and expresses itself as thoughts and ideas. So then the body then becomes the lower vibrational frequency into material formation of these states of consciousness, which is earth consciousness, which is a manifestation of thoughts in physicality. So when we speak about being, we're either speaking about material or non-material being, or matter and energy. Being in the form of matter, things that are tangible, or being in the form of energy, that which we can perceive or sense, but we can't fully comprehend through um, its inability to be form, or its infinite potential, rather than its finite potential in form. So we perceive and understand being through our awareness, or our minds, which is either in a form of idealism with ideas, or materialism, it's material. Um, and so the metaphysical sense, in a metaphysical sense, being is comprised out of wisdom, or the being of ourselves, our physical bodies, um, is comprised out of wisdom, or accumulated information or knowledge; will, which is the mind or spirit force to carry out the information; and consciousness, or thoughts and ideas. So it takes all of these to make what we term as divine, or God and goddess. And man stands in this Godhead as mind and will, or the activation of the spirit within self. So the fact that we're able to wake up every day is an act of this divine will, or this Godhead within us, this breath of life within us, and it is our duty to um, realize this divine spark. The ideas exist externally in wisdom. They are made manifest through will, and that manifestation is called consciousness. Thus, man's being, man's body, is the faculty of will in the supreme Godhead, or the supreme mind, and it is through his or her awareness that the universe is brought into manifestation. Or that is how we realize the universe and physical world. That's how we're able to sense and perceive and cognate and interpret this reality in which we live in. So that which is brought forth is consciousness, and that is a thing which is made. So let's delve into this idea of consciousness. What is consciousness? Consciousness is our knowing that we know. The awareness, consciousness is awareness, or in our physical understandings, consciousness is based on electrical, chemical, magnetical conversions in within the body, as well as on Earth. And so when we get past this just physical linear understanding, consciousness deals with observation experience, and it is the phase of mind by which we take cognizance, or we realize through perception, of our existence and our relation to that which we call our environment. So our awareness or consciousness exists through observation, exists as observation and experience. Our ability to observe and experience our realities and our environment, ourselves as well as our environment. The environment is made by, or created and produced by, our ideas about ourself and the world inside and outside, as in our observation and experience, and it is held within our mind, and either objectified um, and is objectified and subjectified. The ideas or thoughts which are held in mind are the basis to all consciousness or all awareness. Awareness means thoughts and ideas in mind. The ability to think, the ability to have an idea, to hold an idea in your mind, is awareness. The nature or spiritual and material nature of ideas upon which awareness or consciousness is formed gives character to ideas or thoughts held in the mind about ourselves and the universe. The subconscious mind, the subconscious mind now, or the subjective awareness, is the sum total, the total of all of man's past thinking and ideas of self and the environment through perception, observation, experience, and also called memory, is this subconscious aspect of our minds. The the subconscious mind is a state of consciousness in which a certain phase of mind is built through thinking of some particular ideas, which then come to manifest themselves. So the knowing, knowing, what does it mean to know? What does it mean to know anything? Um, there is in all man and woman a knowing aspect, or gnosis aspect, or the capacity to gain knowledge or information through awareness of self and the universe and environment. And so this knowledge, or this knowing of, or this gaining of information, is either intellectual or spiritual. The metaphysical or spiritual knowing is one's capacity to gain awareness or knowledge and experience by transcending the intellectual knowledge, transcending the knowledge which we can gain from books, transcending our linear understanding, our linear state of consciousness, onto higher states of being, higher states of awareness, in which we gain hidden wisdom, which brings one to a personal subjective experience and spiritual revelations. The knowing that man and woman receives from the direct fusion of mind of the divine aspect of self, or gods, goddesses, and deities, with his or her mind, is the real spiritual knowing. So, or also known as divina sapientia or gnosis. Knowledge, or this gaining of information, is knowing. Is knowing means the acquaintance with fact, or the scope of information, and that's just Webster's definition. Intellectual knowledge is awareness, acquaintance with facts through the. Okay, so let's go back here a little bit. So we know that knowledge, or the acquiring of information, can either be spiritual or intellectual. The spiritual acquiring of information transcends beyond ordinary states of consciousness. So Webster's definition of knowledge means acquaintance with fact, hence the scope of information. So just the acquaintance with that which you accept as fact, that which you says, yes, I believe this to be true, while gaining information about yourself and your environment through your awareness, experience, and observation, either intellectual or spiritual. So the intellectual knowledge, so that was Webster's definition, and I gave my expression of how I felt about this word through my initial response. So the intellectual knowledge is the awareness, acquaintance with, or the acquaintance with facts through, or though are independent of feelings. So the intellectual knowledge is the acquaintance with facts which are independent of feeling, which means that we have no emotional basis to this knowledge or this awareness. It is literal knowledge without consideration of the spirit, or without consideration of the divine aspect of self, or sense awareness. So intellectual knowledge is knowledge without actually experiencing it. It's knowledge without getting first-hand experience. So intellectual knowledge is second-hand or third-hand experience. Written, or it's like reading a book and not actually experience what the writer is writing about and what you are reading about through his written observation. Point blank. So the metaphysical and spiritual knowledge comes through the one who sits at the feet of the higher self, or the Lord, and in purity within the silence or meditation. And this is just pertaining to gnosis, divina sapientia. Emotions and thoughts. So feeling is external to thought. Behind every feeling or emotion there is a thought. Thoughts are a direct cause of feeling, and emotions um, are undisciplined forces or metaphysical activity of mental and physical forces within self, and the excitement of feelings. So emotions cause a chemical change within the biophysiology of man and woman, as well as through our thinking. Through our thinking and what we feel as emotions, we are causing chemical changes and biological changes within our biophysiology. So every time we think a thought, every time we feel a feeling, we are changing the chemical processes within our physical body, just like drugs. Emotions and thoughts are inner drugs that are produced internally, so it's not like you're taking something outside of something that is not produced inside of you, or something that exists outside of you. So thoughts are a product of thinking, mental process of information, or this energized process of energy, the production of energy within the mind. Um, It's mental vibrations. Thoughts are mental vibrations or impulses, mental impulses, which through the form of thought is the conclusion of thinking. Every thought clothes itself in a life form according to the character which is given to the thoughts by the thinker. Thoughts exist in the realm of ideas, in the realm of formation or information. So thoughts in the mind are controlled by the right use of affirmation and denial. So our being able to affirm or deny that which we perceive as being fact, or that we accept as being factual to ourselves, our personal individual observation and experiences, or our consciousness. And so the thoughts in mind are controlled by using this affirmation or denial by the power of the mind, or the power of this Godhead within, individualized within each and every one of us, to accept or reject information. Conscious mind. This power of the mind is the I am aspect. So if I say, who are you? You say, I am, and then whatever comes after that. Well, this I am, this being able to say I am through mind, is this power of mind to accept and reject information or knowledge, wisdom, understanding. A certain position mentally and audibly until the logic of the mind is satisfied and spiritual realization is attained. So that just deals with Divina Sapientia. Okay, the mind. What is the mind? The mind is a term used to signify the universal principle or the divine spark individualized within man and woman equally. The divine spark in man, which includes all principles existing individualized within each of us. The mind is the starting point of every act, thought, and feelings. The mind is the commonplace, or the meeting place, the common meeting place through which the divine or the spirit aspect of man and woman unite their awareness. Or basically the mind is the meeting place between God or the divine, God and goddesses, and man and woman. Or in another observation, it would be the common place or the meeting place between heaven and earth. God is mind. Heaven. Let me just define that a little bit. Heaven meaning that divine aspect or the higher aspect of ourselves, the highest aspect of ourselves, and earth meaning the lowest low aspect of ourselves or our awareness. So the mind is the common meeting place between the highest aspect of ourselves, or the highest awareness of ourselves, and the lowest awareness of ourselves, or the earthly awareness of ourselves. And we cannot, God is mind. God and goddess is mind. The divine is mind. And we cannot describe mind in a linear fashion, a linear objective fashion. And we must also, and we also cannot describe God in a linear fashion without, through human language and philosophy, basically. We can only say that I am in mind, or I know, which when we say I know, it's just meaning that you exist. You know, meaning that you are being able to be aware, or that you are conscious, just like when we were reading in the beginning of this segment. The mind is the seat of perception of things we see, feel, and hear, and sense. It is through the mind that we see the beauties of the earth, the sky, of music, and the arts, in fact, of everything. So the silent inner workings of thought, working in and out through the cells and the nerves together, working with the myriad moods of the mind, we call this life. So the inner workings of the spirit, mind, and body is through this expression we get what we know as life. So three phases of the mind. We have the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious mind, or the conscious, the subconscious, and the supreme conscious mind. all of these phases equal the Lord. So anytime you read in the Bible, biblical perspective, the Lord signifies these three states of mind, because mind is God. Superconscious mind is the mind that transcends the conscious and subconscious mind. And so in the perspective of Divina Sapientia, the priests of the Temple of Divine seek this transcendental mind, or this third aspect of perception or mind. Um, so um, according to the Temple of Divine, we are able to gain wisdom or knowledge or information by going beyond our conscious and subconscious mind, into this intuitive knowing, or into this spiritual intuition, which there's a voice, not necessarily voices, but there's a specific sound, or the specific energy, the specific feeling within us as a source of our understanding, as knowledge and information. So wisdom is the mental action based on the higher self and the truth of our higher self within. Wisdom encompasses all departments of the mind that we come under, that come under the head of knowing. So this knowing transcends intellectual knowing, or intellectual information, intellectual knowledge, objective experience, or secondhand experiences. So this wisdom is first-hand experience. It must be experienced firsthand by oneself, individualized, subjectively. Spiritual discernment always places wisdom above the faculties, or the other faculties of mind, and reveals that knowing and intelligence are auxiliary to understanding. So that which is in man or mind comprehends or understands. The comparisons are made in the realm of ideas rather than the realm of form. So we make our comparisons about the physical realm in the realm of ideas rather than their physical formation. Um, in order to receive this divine knowing, or this divina sapientia, this gnosis, we must let go of our personal self. We must let go of our personal ego and our limited awareness, our limited states of consciousness, and our limited beliefs. The divine God and goddesses of ourselves, of our nature, of our universe, is the supreme knowing, or the divina sapientia, the supreme consciousness, the spiritual understanding within.